Hey everyone, Mike Taberts here from the LevelUp Golf Academy, where we help golfers level up for pure power, precise performance. Today I have a 3-step process for giving you better club face control to hit straight shots every time you tee it up. The club face is worth over 80% of the influence on where the golf ball goes, so it is imperative that we know how to return this club face back to straight when we contact the golf ball. If it points even a couple degrees offline, the ball will ultimately start offline and likely finish offline. When we swing the club, there's the 3 steps to getting club face control is broken down by your grip, your posture, as well as a drill that I call fishtails to make sure that you have the proper hinging of your wrist to keep the club face square throughout the entire swing. When we start out here with the grip, we need to start out with how the grip should be placed to make sure both hands are unified. So we're going to start out as a right-handed golfer with our lead hand. Our lead hand with my left is going to be down in the fingertips of my left hand with the heel pad of my palm on top of the grip. When I have that on top of the grip, I then should just lightly place my left thumb on the right side of the top of the grip. When I place my hands on there, I need the thumb and my pointer finger at the same depth of the grip. This is important because this is how we control any object in normal life. When I grab onto my keys, I would grab onto my keys just like this to hold onto it. I would never grab onto it with a long thumb. Okay, when I grab onto the golf club, I see a lot of my students grabbing onto it with simply just a straight on approach and then having a long thumb. When you have a long thumb, now the club can move around within your hand very easily, whereas now when I hold it in my fingertips, my entire hand and wrist will become one with the grip. So it's very important that one, we get our hands on the club, laying the club in the fingertips, but also the thumb and pointer finger are on the same depth. So when I hold this, when the club is square, I should see that the V, the split between the thumb and pointer finger, points towards my trail shoulder. Stronger grip, again, would make the ball go more to my hook side or left for me, or a very weak grip would be a V that goes more straight up, and that would make me hit more to the right. So when I get the neutral grip, the V is towards my right armpit or shoulder. When I place my right hand on here, I want to match this. So I want to place my right hand with the crease between my thumb and heel pad of my palm resting on the side of my thumb, then resting the grip down in my fingertips, just like the left hand, and then my thumb should rest lightly on the left side of the grip. When I hold this hand on the grip, you should see that the thumb and pointer finger are also at the same depth. So at neither hand should have a long thumb on either side, and I should never have the thumb on the side. It should be just lightly resting, crisscrossing on top. You can do 3 ways to join your hands together. You can do a 10 finger just side by side. You can do an interlock, or I can do an overlap with the pinky over the top. All 3 are acceptable and it's totally based on your comfort, but ultimately all hands are unified together. And as well as once I have that, my hands are always parallel with one another where my palms are facing. So again, keys to go by here is the thumb and pointer finger are at the same depth. I have a fingertip grip where the club is resting more in my fingers rather than up in my palm. So get that down in the fingers, the thumb and pointer at the same depth. And then I need to make sure that my hands are unified tight together with my palms facing one another. Okay, so once I have the proper grip, that should give me a great chance to control where the club face goes because it's going to resemble where my palms and my back of my hands are facing. Then we need to work into our step 2, which is our posture. And posture is going to control not only our contact with the golf ball, but also our swing path. We want our swing path, or what we call our swing plane, to mirror my posture. So if I'm standing straight up and down, this club would swing around my body perpendicularly around my body like a hula hoop around my chest. That would be a nice circle orbiting around my body in a nice smooth swing plane around my body perpendicular. When I'm making my swing, I need to make sure that I make contact with the ground ultimately, so I need to make a good hip hinge. Okay, so when I get bent forward, I'm going to push my hips back until my chest is facing down towards the golf ball. When my body faces the golf ball, now my arms and shoulders should rotate back and through, ultimately making contact with the golf ball. Okay, so if I get set, I want the ball position to be correct for my 7-iron here, right in the middle. I have the club in my chest. I bend forward until that club is pointing to the golf ball. I let my arms then relax as I maintain this position. And with my proper grip, I should be able to rotate back and through, making solid contact every time. Now, as I'm making my proper swing, I should be seeing that I hit the ball hopefully very, very straight. If we are not making good contact, again, our body might be losing posture, or maybe we're not bending forward enough, or we're bending too far because we are not making the correct contact with the ground. As again, I would stand very tall, this would cause me to have to do a lot of arm motion, whereas if I bend over too much, naturally a lot of people will stand up because it's a lot of tension on the back and difficult to rotate when I'm bent over excessively. So make sure that we are bent over approximately 45 degrees from our hip hinge. And as I get set up, I need to rotate back and rotate through with a nice little brush of the turf or grass. Okay, so those are our first two steps. Again, we have our grip and then our posture. Our posture is huge for our club path as well as also our contact, whereas the grip is going to be important for everything, but ultimately the club face. So now we have our proper setup. Now we need to make the club start to move while keeping the club face square. As the club moves around us, again, we see the clubs moving on a circular motion. As the club circles around us, it's never pointing directly at the target for very long, but we want to extend that area for as long as possible. Okay, so as we move the club in my natural motion, as I turn 90 degrees, the club naturally will turn 90 degrees. Okay, so as I move my body, the club is no longer pointing at the center of the screen. So I need to make sure that as I come back through the ball, that club will return square. So it's not square to the target, it's actually just square to the arc. Okay, so when we move the club around us, it's very important that we keep the club square to the arc, which then ultimately we place the ball anywhere within the arc in our ball position and we'll hit it straight. So as we do this, this is going to be called our fishtail drill to train how we control the club face. And as we move the club, we actually are moving our body to move the club. We're not going to just simply move the club with our hands, because as we do that, the club moves excessively and is very hard to control. I like to explain the hands as if you're giving a speech in high school, with, like for me, which was very, very difficult to do, and I got really nervous. And when you're nervous, your hands tend to shake. If you're nervous in competition or even just an important round of golf for you, what's going to shake is going to be your hands. So we want to move this club with not just our hands, we want to move it with our body motion, which gives us more consistency on every shot we hit. So as we hold the club, we want to make sure our body will move the club. So we need to make sure that we move the handle with our body motion, creating what we call your swing sequence. As I move this club back and through, notice the club is staying straight up and down. This is straight up and down because I'm standing upright right now. And I call this drill, again, fishtails, because I'm moving the club like as if I'm a fish swimming through the water, and the club is like my fin. Okay? I'm never going to start to move it just simply with my hands and wrists. And you'd be surprised on how many people have a difficult time with this drill. Most people struggle with just simply moving it and then they throw the club forward, which would be a scooping motion through the ball. Very common that I see on the lesson tee, and definitely a problem for club face control consistency. So as I take this now into a golf position, I'm going to bend forward at my hips, let my arms again relax down. But as I move the club and I rotate, my body is going to pull the handle, and the handle will then pull the club to about my halfway back position. At my halfway back position, the club will be parallel to the ground, and the club face will be parallel with my spine angle. So again, the club face should be square to my body, and I will then see that it's square to the swing plane. As the club will then continue swinging back, and then I come back down, my body will pull, and the club face remains square. As I then come through on the follow through, I'll see that the club is still square to my body. Now it's going to be on the follow through parallel to my body and pointing towards the target. So again, main key is that the club face is square to the body. When I'm upright, it's going to be upright. When I'm bent forward, it's going to be square to my body at a 45-degree angle, bent forward. So as I swing through here, I want to see that I can repeat a very straight shot, such as we have right here. That we see that the club face is only a degree off, the club path was less than a degree off. If I can repeat that shot over shot, I'll have a very good day out on the golf course. So as I get set, again, just going through our 3-step process, fingertip grip, thumbs and pointer are at the same depth. I can unify my hands together. My palms are matching. I'm going to bend forward at my hips, getting my chest to face to the golf ball, letting my arms then relax with the grip in my hands. I'm then going to approach the golf ball, feeling my fishtail sequence. And feel that club face staying square through the entire hitting motion. I look at my target right down the middle of the screen here, and as I get set, I'm just swinging to my target, keeping my hands and palms square to it. 183 yards and only 37 feet offline, I'll take that any day. This again is a 3-step process to helping you with your club face control. Give it a shot. Again, it's going to help you keep the ball in play and down the fairway or on the green a lot more consistent. Thanks for watching.